Hi guys, today we are reviewing fractions. Woo! So I picked the hardest fraction problems I could find in your book. Okay? Really, it's just all about review and making sure you remember like least common denominator and things like that. So here, I want to add these two fractions. So I can't do that because I've got 2/3 and 3/4. They don't share a common denominator. So I'm gonna have to change both of these to what I know their least common denominator is, which is 12. I did 3 times 4 to get 12, so I have to do 2 times 4 for the top. I did 4 times 3 to get 12, so I have to do 3 times 3 for the top. So I've got 8 plus 9, which is 17 over 12, which actually, here, I'm going to write it over a little bit because I'm going to do something with this here. So 17 over 12. If you'll notice, 12 is smaller than 17, which means I can set this to, I can take out one of my 12s, and I'm left with 5 over 12 here. So now I'm going to add these together. So I've got 5 plus 7, which is 12, 1 plus 1 plus 1, which is 3. So I have 32 and 17 over 12, or 32 plus 1 is 33 and 5 over 12. Okay, so I'm going to look at this one. I'm going to kind of breeze through these a little bit. I know that these two have to be change of denominators, so I'm going to change them both to 15 because it's 3 and 5. 3 times 5 is 15, 2 times 5 is 10, 5 times 3 is 15, 3 times 3 is 9. If you'll notice, I am subtracting though here, so I'm going to do 10 minus 9. Whew, that works out. I don't have to borrow anything. I like that. And then 16 minus 9 is 7. Which means you can assume I'm probably going to have to borrow here. So let's see. 9 and 6, what do they share in common? If you guessed 18, you are correct. So I have 9 times 2 is 18, 1 times 2 is 2, 6 times 3 is 18, 1 times 3 is 3. I can't do 2 minus 3, so I actually have to borrow from here. So I'm going to borrow and make that a 10, and I'm going to add 18 over 18 here, which is going to give me 20 over 18. And now I can subtract. So I can do 20 minus 3 gives me 17 over 18. 10 minus 7 gives me 3. So I have 3 and 17 over 18. Moving right along, we now have to add. I now have 3 fractions here. I have to find out what they have in common. Well, fortunately for me, I know it's 12 because I looked at the fact that I could do 6 times 2 gives me 12, and I know that 4 is also a factor of 12. So 2 times 6 is 12, 1 times 6 is 6. 4 times 3 is 12, 3 times 3 is 9. 6 times 2 is 12, 5 times 2 is 10. So I've got 6 plus 9, which is 15, plus 10, which is 25, over 12. I'm going to simplify this first. So I know 12 goes into 25 2 times with the remainder of 1 over 12. Now I've got 5 plus 7, which is 12. I picked a lot of 12s, didn't I, when I was doing all this? Okay, so 5 plus 7 is 12. 12 plus 8 is 20. Carry the 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. And I know 30 plus 2 and 12th is 32 and 1/12. Okay, now we're going to move into some multiplication and division. So here I have 10 times 2/9. Quickest way to do this is to just put a 1 underneath the 10 there. So I can do 10 times 2 is 20. 1 times 9 is 9. And then I can simplify that if I want to. So this is correct. Or I can do 9 goes into 20 2 times with the remainder of 2/9. So both of those are correct. It just depends on if it wants an improper fraction or a mixed number. I'm okay with either, so if you forget, I will have both as an option, okay? And then here, I'm gonna multiply. Since I don't have to flip anything, I'm just gonna go straight across. So 2 times 4 is 8, and 3 times 15 is 45. So 8 over 45. Those are not, they don't share any factors, so that is good. That's as simplified as it's gonna get. Okay, I'm gonna move down here to where I actually have mixed numbers. I can't just multiply. I have to get them out of this format. So I have to do 8 times 2 is 16 plus 7. 16 plus 7 is 23 over 8. And then I have to do 5 times 4 is 20. 20 plus 3 is 23 over 5. So this is 23 times 23 over 45. So let me do that real quick. Which is 529. Since they do not share anything here. I'm actually just going to leave it like that because they're both not divisible by 5. However, I am curious as to if 529, how many times 45 will go into 529, and I actually am going to find out that that is 11. So 45 times 11 is 495. So 529 minus 495 gives me a 34 over 45. Again, like I said, either or, they're the same thing, same as up here. Okay, 2 more problems down here. So my division problems, what I'm going to do is we're going to do keep, change, flip. So I keep the first, which is 6 over 7. I change the symbol to multiplication, and I flip the second to 4 over 3. And here you can actually see I've got a 6 on top and a 3 on bottom, so I can simplify that. 2 times 4 is 8 over 7, which is 1 1/7. Both of which are correct. Now, had I multiplied this, I would have ended up with 24 over 21, and I would have seen both are divisible by 3, which would have then given me 8 over 7. Okay, so if you'll notice, they end up giving you the same thing. So 3 times 5 is 15 plus 1 is 16 over 3 divided by 8 over 9. I wanted to do that first. So now I'm going to keep my first as 16 over 3. I'm going to change my symbol to multiplication, and I'm going to flip my second to 9 over 8. Again, I'm going to show you how we can cancel. I've got a 3 down here. I've got a 9 up here. I've got an 8 down here. I've got a 16 up here, which is going to give me 6 as my final answer. Or I could have multiplied them, and I would have gotten 16 times 9 on top was 144 over 3 times 8, which is 24. I know those are both divisible by 12, which is going to give me 12 over 2. And then I know that that is 6. So divisible by 12. Don't forget all these little things that we have learned throughout this. If you can see, there are more than one way to do this. If you forget how to cancel things out, you can just continue on with multiplication and cancel it out at the end, or factor it at the end. Okay, it is fine. So we're going to keep going through some of these problems. I know I picked fractions today, but a lot of people still struggle on these sections when we get to our May exam. So I wanted to make sure I took the time to review fractions. So tomorrow I will see you guys as we review our signed numbers, so our positives and negatives.